Islam, this is part 2. July the 30th, 2021, on Moorish American Nation and Family. So, and this is in reference to me coming in an hour late for the first time and that I can recall this ever happened, because as I'm running Arrington-Bey at Burger King last Thursday and then this Thursday. Once again, for a very long time, my hour to come in was at 11. But I think approximately about a month and a half or maybe a month, CJ, the scheduler, he is the scheduler, the son of the owner, Janelle and Carl, as far as I know. Janelle is Chinese American, Carl is pale skin, and he's the son, as far as I know, as a scheduler. He scheduled me for 10. He still scheduled me at 4 on Fridays on Holy Day. Holy Day for us as Muslim. He still schedules me at 4. I don't know why, but I've been leaving at 3. But nonetheless, I just wanted to say that the thing is, I never done this before, and I was like, I mixed my days up, and I was, on the physical plane, this is what logically, it's like, okay, this happened. It's easy for this to happen, because if you are in a behavior, when you're dealing with behavior, and you're not catching certain things because you're doing the exact same thing over and over again, then if an unclean spirit who has been trained and educated to study behaviors, such as the United States Navy and Army, the military, which they supposed to use these techniques for the enemies of freedom, wherever they may be, the enemies of the Constitution, the enemies, those that are terrorists, that can cause harm to the citizens of this landmass. But if the military or the police that are unnaturalized, and a foreign entity is using them, then that science hold on one moment. Excuse me. Live long, inshallah, Allah. They being used as property, the unnaturalized military and Navy and the police, and therefore them being used as property, they will be used as terrorists, because they are outside of natural law. They have not been naturalized. So a foreign entity, whether it's it could be Russia, China, North Korea, South Korea, wherever it may be, is using them, okay? Because they are outside of natural law. So that's the importance of naturalization, not just for the citizens, but the military. And if the military is naturalized, then 99% of the time, the commander-in-chief is naturalized to uphold these divine laws of freedom, the commander-in-chief of the military. But if the military does not respect the Constitution of 1787, the 13th Amendment, 20 sections, these natural divine laws of freedom, the rights of citizens, okay? Then what that demonstrates, 10 times out of 10, or I would say 9 times out of 10, unless there's a civil war, okay? There could be a civil war where that happened years ago, where the South broke off from the North, and the South wanted their own president. They actually proclaimed somebody else as their president, besides Abraham Lincoln. But as far as I know, that's done and over with 2 presidents. There's only 1 president. But if naturalized Islam, a naturalized country. But if you are unnaturalized, the military, then 9 times out of 10, the commander-in-chief is not naturalized, okay? And the commander-in-chief himself is being used by a foreign entity, by a foreigner. So, getting back, so if an unclean spirit who has the science, the technology to use sound, where it has, because I remember I was watching this video of this military man. He had fought overseas, I think Afghanistan. I'm not sure exactly where, because it's been a little while now, years. But he said he had telepathy. He said he would fight, he was able to penetrate the enemy's mind. He was used to do that. He had telepathy. All right, this was maybe a little bit, this was like maybe 2000, and it was a while. And I remember I listened to the video several times. I wish I might can find it. So he was used to penetrate the enemy's mind. Now, when you, but if you have these types of sciences, okay, and such as telepathy, a code, okay, so he is saying in that video he had a code where he can penetrate the enemies of the United States. And so he wasn't the only one. There were others as well. Then you would think that what the science would be used for. The science would not be used to monitor a citizen who is in constitutional law behavior, to invade a citizen, a true American citizen's behavior or her or his thoughts. Or spiritually, mentally molest or rape the genitals, or use different forms of, because if you are, there's a science of sound where you can use your a sound can travel. If the military that's unnaturalized and the police that's unnaturalized have beings, have created not extraordinary beings. These are laboratory experiments that can actually move objects without being seen. Okay? So, or they are able to send objects without being seen. So say one of them can spit. You feel the spit, but you don't see where the spit is coming from. That is really a very deadly weapon. That's a deadly weapon. Okay, so that's exactly what it is. It's a weapon. If the unnaturalized military or police can use telepathy to invade someone's dream because one of them have a crush or want to have sex with a citizen, a true American citizen, and it's like, well, I know she would never ever look at me. What's wrong with me? And that whatever that military male is something else mixed in with experiments, because there are a lot of experiments out there. A Chinese scientist I've been posting, he announced that he could create any life. This Chinese scientist, he is announcing to the world he can create any life chemically. So, in that, if a military male or female that is not of a human nature feels that it has power over a true American citizen, where they can control technology, Islam, with their mind, or control objects, send a voice, carry sound, invade the body sheath, attack the genitals, use heat sensors to see if a person is acidic, whatever they can do to make that person feel like we're gonna take over your body, your possession. You are not safe in your possession. Your body is your possession. We are going to take your possession. We're going to invade your possession, whether you like it or not. And if you try to fight us, we'll attack your child. If you try to fight us, we'll attack. First, we're going to rape you. We're going to molest you. And then if you still are too strong and you still fight it, we're going to rape and molest your child. And then if you're still too strong, then we're going to figure out a way to make you be perceived as crazy. So we can have you locked up or in jail. Whatever they can do, and it all stems from unclean spirits being controlled and used as slaves, because they are, to slavery by a foreign entity. They're not from the stars. There's nothing extraordinary about them. They are unclean and experimental spirits. And these are true weapons. They're weapons. Literally, they're weapons of mass destruction. And they've been using them for a long time. So getting back. So I was wondering, I was like, gosh, what happened? So I went, first I thought about on a physical plane what could have happened and what I see happen. I was like, well, I did think I'm supposed to go in. I've been going in at 10 for a long time on Thursday. So that's a behavior. But once again, I'm telling you, I said there's been unclean spirits that American Ascended State constantly talking around the room. Unclean spirits, or it's like a mic is in the room. And this is dealing with spirit and spirituality. This is definitely true. It's not. I speak about it because I'm speaking truth, and I'm not afraid because I know that there is science that can prove that these things are happening. So this is my testimony. What I am experiencing, and so I on the physical plane I was like, this is behavior. On a spiritual thought, on a spiritual level, I started to think, when your mind is being manipulated constantly and you have spirits watching your behavior, okay? Because you do switch up, but a lot of us as beings, we are beings of behavior. Not only that, so they're watching and they're studying, they're lusting, and they're just trying to think of different ways how they can make their presence in your life normalized. Because their goal is to possess and invade your possession. This is my body, my spaceship. They want the spaceship, and so they can get to the core, okay? Get to the core, and then you become a slave like so many that exist this day and time, okay? A slave with no voice, a slave with no power, a slave with no rights. A slave has no rights, and a slave cannot own another slave. Okay, anyway, I was like, what happened here? And that is keeping it truth. I'm talking truth, and it is what it is. What I found was interesting when I got off work yesterday. And I'm not accusing her of anything, but this black lady, she was dressed in African attire. Because I was many times I speak about how African Americans keep saying mother. That out of the blue, and they'll look at me, and knowing that I know the history of what happened to my mother. My mother was murdered, but before she was murdered, she was diagnosed as being schizophrenia and having mental illnesses. Okay, so African American, mainly male and female, once again connection to the word brother, constantly being spoken at American Ascended State, would say mother. All right. As in a threatening manner, or your son, like they and not all. Once again, I always say this, not all. So now I'm referring to unclean spirits, obviously, but to me that would be considered unclean. But I don't know. I mean that is an unclean. That's a behavior. Let me say that. That's a behavior that unclean spirits exhibit. Now, whether that person has an unclean spirit or not, I'm not sure. But that would be a behavior if someone keeps saying, or say your mother, and look at you like they ready to hurt you. It's like, okay, what's going on with that? Your mother? But that's me. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm like, but when it happens over and over and over again, that's when I start to question. Or hearing African American males and females say brother, And then I experience, these are unclean spirits. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I see exhibit unclean. And I might feel a sharp pain in my chest, in my anus, my genitals. So a lot of times in my genitals, okay, as an unclean spirit say brother, it's like, so that's a form of subjugation, okay, and this happens not only with African Americans. I mean, I've experienced those that have said words that, like I paid, that were Spanish speaking from Mexico, looks like El Salvador, South America, and also pale skin. But so these are spirits that exhibit the behaviors in my thought process that would be unclean because of what I see and what I know to be clean would not exhibit behavior in such a manner, especially if a person is not reacting to a feeling or experience they have experienced that they're dealing with. So let me continue. So the black woman appeared at Burger King, and she ordered food, and James, the manager, she had on an African attire, short afro. She looked like she about 60 years old, and I'm not blaming her. I'm just giving you an example. And you know how black conscious women look, black conscious male and women, or male and females look. They're like wearing the African stuff, the African attire. The African American conscious look. Power to the people. Strong black woman, that sort of thing. That a lot of them wear that. I'm not saying that's her thought process, but a lot of them, or they could be an educated doctor, psychologist, that, or so forth, right? In their African attire. So she came and ordered the food, okay? And James told her, James gave her the wrong drink. Okay, he's an African American manager. And this is once again when I realized that I came in an hour late. I came in an hour late on Thursday. And I realized this afterwards. Okay, and she looked at me. I said, I said, are those her drinks? And she said, no, they're not my drinks. I said, okay, no problem. So I made her drinks. And then as I was giving her drinks, she was like, it seemed like it's like she was telling me that it seemed like James was mad or angry with her or something. I said, no, he's not angry. But she was having a conversation about how she felt about James, the African American manager. Now, I'm not accusing her of having telepathy, because if you have telepathy, then you can play a game. You know how you can play mental games. You say, we're going to create a situation, okay? A situation that could be perceived to be something else, but not, okay? I'm not accusing her of having telepathy, okay? I'm not accusing anyone of having telepathy. So I said, it's no problem. She was just telling me, she was saying that she felt like he was there. I said, no, it's a mistake. I can't say he's not angry. I'm not in his mind. All I can say is no problem. You got your drinks right. Okay. So right before I got off work, she left. I got off at 4. She came back, and she was talking about her food or something. I'm not sure. But I was getting off work, and then I noticed she was having a conversation with Thomas, the African American manager, another African American male manager. Let's say claim a nationality. And as I was walking out, getting ready to Thomas, I heard either one of them, I don't know which one, said mother. And my thoughts went to, because of I was thinking, now what made me think? I'm trying to think. Yeah, my thoughts went to my mom. My thoughts went back to my mom. And I was just thinking about this song. I just thought of a song. I was like, thinking about my mother and how she was diagnosed and what I experienced and what I have been experiencing mentally and spiritually as I grow spiritually. As I walked out and I came back, because I realized I left my water. I came back. She was still, she was not in there anymore. I came back to go get my water. I walked out. I heard one of them say mother. Okay, I'm not accusing them of being one of the ones that African Americans that say mother to harm. I'm just giving you a testimony of my spiritual experience. Got my water, and then because I came back, I got my water. Came back, I got my water at the locker, and I walked back out. As I was walking back out, as I was coming back, excuse me, I'm wrong. As I was coming back to get my water, she approached me. The African American lady with the African attire with the short afro. She was like, "I see you walking. Where are you going?" Many, I hear African Americans, male women do this a lot at Burger King. And I was like, "Ma'am, I just got off work. I'm okay. I'm really tired. I don't feel like talking." And she kept trying to talk, and I just said, "Ma'am, I'm off work. I'm off the clock. I don't feel like talking." I just kept going. So anyway, I found that interesting because when Thomas said mother, once again, it made me think about how when you try to articulate your thoughts as a spiritual woman, as a Moor, and how many Moors, I'm not accusing him, were placed in a mental hospital by those that looked like them but were not the same as them, because they could not articulate what they were experiencing. So I'm learning how to do this spiritually. Okay, so they were placed in mental hospitals or in psychiatric wards because they refrained from using different forms of terms of spirit or what have you, and they were being attacked because everything is with spirit. Everything has a spirit. A disease, herpes, that's a spirit. The coronavirus, that is some form of spirit. It's a virus. It has everything that moves, that has life, some form, has a spirit. So herpes, like in Annapolis, it's been spoke of how Annapolis have a abundance of venereal disease. They use the word herpes. Okay, that's a spirit. So it just made me think about my mother, because one of them said mother, and how many more were in a form of imprisonment or imprisoned by those that looked like them but weren't the same as them. Okay, under the terms of African American, Black, Negro, but was an unclean spirit. Okay, for reasons that were unlawful and unjust, but these line of unclean spirits have been used